So 4:30 Eastern on Thursday, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys meet up for a huge game. Playoff implications online for both of these teams. Both teams coming in off comeback wins in week 12. We know the Kansas City Chiefs were able to come back versus the Indianapolis Colts. Guys, at the Colts plus the 3.5, but also that sprinkle on the money line. We saw the Colts going into that fourth quarter down 20-9, and you could almost see the writing on the wall. They're able to get that win in OT. And then when we look at the Dallas Cowboys, it looked like their game was said and done. They came back from being down 21-0 to winning it 24-21, 24 unanswered points versus the Philadelphia Eagles. It was mind-blowing what we saw on Sunday football in week 12. Now, Thanksgiving Day here, week 13, the Kansas City Chiefs, the road favorite, the only road favorite on deck. Now, I got a trend for those road favorites and why you'd like to bet them, back them here, but can we get there with the Kansas City Chiefs? We're going to go over everything that I'm liking. Currently, we are seeing 3.5 still hanging around out there. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs opened at that 3.5 point favorite. We are seeing threes at FanDuel, BetMGM, Caesars, Hard Rock, Sports 411, and Bet365 and Circa. If you're looking to get the Dallas Cowboys plus 3.5, you can still find them. DraftKings plus 3.5. You're also getting them plus 3.5 at Pinnacle. But that's about it. You guys, the 3.5s are very hard to come by. You will have to lay a little bit of juice grabbing the 3.5, or you'll have to play an adjusted line on your regular book. But I do think the Dallas Cowboys plus the 3.5 is the way to go. I wouldn't want to take the Dallas Cowboys, only grabbing 3 points. Now, looking at the total has inflated. 52s across the board, except for a 52.5 hanging at FanDuel currently. I do think the total may be a little bit high. We look here at a couple of situations that we're going to get into. The defense of the Dallas Cowboys has looked better since the trade deadline, and I do think we can see the Dallas Cowboys have some success in this one. We did see the Kansas City Chiefs, what they were able to do to a better offense, I think, than the Dallas Cowboys offense versus the Indianapolis Colts last week. And with both of these teams fighting for a playoff spot, you know they're going to come out strong on both sides of the ball. Strong trends to the under with the Kansas City Chiefs. And we know the problem here with betting an under and what gives us angst is what we've seen out of the secondary for the Dallas Cowboys, but they have shown improvement over the last couple of weeks. So let's jump into some of those trends before we get into those bets. I also have a great special running on picksandparlays.net. So don't go anywhere. I'm going to tell you about that. But favorites since 2004 on Thanksgiving Day have dominated straight up, going 51-9 straight up against the spread, going 40-20 against that spread. Now we have a road favorite here with the Kansas City Chiefs. Look at this stat, you guys. Road favorites are 25-1 straight up and 20-6 against the spread on Thanksgiving Day since 2004. The only team that lost being the New York Giants, rolling into Denver in 2009 as that road favorite. They lost that game 26-6. Now, could you see the Kansas City Chiefs losing this one here? Well, they had a hard game versus the Indianapolis Colts. They had to come back, but the Dallas Cowboys had that hard game as well. The Kansas City Chiefs defense looked a lot better in their last game, and it's Patrick freaking Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes with the ball in his hands, you guys, is so dangerous. He's really able to get things done. Now, can we question if Patrick Mahomes is the same quarterback we've seen over the last couple of years? He still is. He proved that versus the Colts in that last game out. He still is so dangerous with that ball in his hands, and I hear a lot of people say, well, maybe Dak is a better quarterback in this matchup going into this game with what we've seen out of both of these quarterbacks on the season. And there's no denying Dak has been deadly. You look at Dak's weapons out there, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, with those weapons on the field, his ability to move that ball deeply on the defense here of the Kansas City Chiefs is there. The trend for the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving is 34-22-1. So they've been great on Thanksgiving. This is a staple to sit down and watch the Dallas Cowboys in the afternoon slot here on Thanksgiving. Now, one thing also to note, we have the earlier game between the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. Now, if you think the Lions are winning that, it's really hard on Thanksgiving to see the Lions and the Cowboys win on the same day. It's either one or the other, which is crazy to think. The Lions and the Cowboys haven't gone a combined 2-0 against the spread on Thanksgiving Day since 2001. You guys, it's 2025. It has been since 2001. They both covered the spread, going 2-0 against the spread, and they both haven't gone 2-0 straight up or against the spread since 1994. 1994 was the last time both of these teams won and covered the spread. So you guys, crazy trends there. If you think Detroit's winning, can you really trust Dallas to win? Or are you throwing these trends out the window? Let me know what you think of these trends, because they are pretty damn solid out there looking at those favorites, but we'll see if we're able to get both the Detroit Lions and the Dallas Cowboys getting the win. Now, Dallas is the underdog at +3.5. You guys, I absolutely have to take them plus the 3.5. We could still see KC squeak this out and win it by a field goal. And that's why I'd be hesitant if you're only getting a 3 there with the Dallas Cowboys. The opportunity of the push is there, yes, but I would rather win it. I would rather shop for that 3.5. Now, Dallas's defense, like I said, has stepped up, has looked better since that trade deadline. They did acquire Williams and Wilson. They were able to hold the Philadelphia Eagles without any points in the second half of that last game. And over their last two, they've only allowed a combined 37 points. So that's over their last two games since the trade deadline, adding Williams and Wilson out there. So there has been an improvement to this defense. I do think the weapons out there for Dak Prescott, we're going to have to look at in this game. I'm expecting CeeDee Lamb to feast. Now, Pickens caught 18 of 20 targets for 290 yards and 2 touchdowns in that last game out. There's no denying what Pickens is able to do out there on the field. And this one, I have to turn to CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb over 77.5 receiving yards. I'm expecting some nice long passes out of Dak to CeeDee. And now we know in that last game out there versus the Eagles, in that first half, we saw some drop passes, missed passes by CeeDee Lamb, but he has caught 28 passes for 410 yards across 5 games since coming back from injury. And I'm expecting him to have success out there and get those passes from Dak. Now, when we talk about Dak, you could look at his passing prop to the over. Interesting one here, looking at Dak's rushing yards. Dak actually has been scrambling with his legs, and we know the Chiefs also blitz at such a high level that we're going to see Dak have to move outside of that pocket. So looking at Dak Prescott, he's rushed at least 4 times in 6 of his past 7 games for 104 total yards. So in the past 7, 104 total yards, 9.5 seems like a pretty fair number, especially with how high of a blitz rate the Chiefs are going to bring on him. So I'll look at Dak Prescott over the 9.5 rushing yards, CeeDee Lamb over the 77.5 receiving yards. And then on the other side here, a little hesitant for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Pacheco is questionable for this game. Now, looking at Rice, he went off in week 12, but he did tweak his hamstring. So I don't think he's going to be 100% out there on the field. His receiving prop is 74.5, and you could see him if he's at 100%, nicely flying over this number. I just don't know if I trust him and his hamstring. I think I'd look at Worthy here. Worthy has a receiving prop of 36.5. I think it's a nice way to go to the over. Okay, so let's talk the touchdown prop market. I can't touch the odds-on favorites for both of these teams, which is Williams for the Dallas Cowboys at -155 and Rice for the Kansas City Chiefs at -135. But I'll go further down the list. CeeDee's a great look, and so is George Pickens for the Dallas Cowboys. You're getting both of those guys right between the +140 to +150 market. But I love Jake Ferguson in the end zone, the tight end here for the Dallas Cowboys. Nice big target out there for Dak. He's coming in at +210. Sign me up. Now, Pacheco, again, is questionable. He's +250. If he plays, has every ability to get in the end zone. But I would look, because we're just not sure, at Xavier Worthy to get in the end zone, coming in at +200. I think this is going to be a game in which we're going to see the defense here of Kansas City try to get to Dak. Dak's going to go over that rushing prop. We're going to see big plays out of Dak with his arm to CeeDee Lamb, to George Pickens in this one. Actually, let's look at their longest receptions, because I do think it's a great way to go. Instead of just taking Dak Prescott for his total passing yards to the over, those longest receptions, CeeDee Lamb coming in at 25.5 and George Pickens at 25.5. I would take them both, you guys. I think they both have every possibility. When we look at the Kansas City Chiefs, there's no denying what Patrick Mahomes is able to do. My fear with Patrick Mahomes is he has so many weapons. We have question marks out there on the field. You could look at Patrick Mahomes over 267.5 passing yards in this game. You could also look at Patrick Mahomes on the ground. 21.5 is his rushing prop. I think it's worth a shot looking at Patrick Mahomes to run one in himself. When the push comes to shove in this game, we know Patrick Mahomes puts the weight of this team on his shoulders. Patrick Mahomes for the anytime tutty at plus 460. You guys, I have to go there. I do think, though, that taking the Dallas Cowboys plus the 3.5 is the only way I can go going into this one. It's going to be interesting because I think the Kansas City Chiefs won't be able to run the ball very much. I know Dallas is going to want to run the ball, try to keep Mahomes off the field, but I do think this turns in to a shootout. Now, does it start off slow or does it start off fast? There's question marks around that. Where are we going to see this slow down? I think at some point it does slow down. So if we're looking at this total inflating as we start that first quarter with both of these teams putting points on the board, if this one shoots up to 54.5, live betting situation, I will be coming back in on the under at 52.5 pregame. I can't jump, but I do think there'll be an opportunity for us to jump early in this game when both of these teams have those scripted plays, get the points on the board. So you guys hold on to your breath. I also think with this line being a 3.5, if you want some more value with the Dallas Cowboys, wait if you think the Kansas City Chiefs will put the points on the board first. Coming back in on the Dallas Cowboys plus more points. I think it's really important when you're live betting a game that you are betting the scenario that you believe it's going to going into that game and where you wanted to come in with those bets. If you want Kansas City just straight up on the money line, you're hoping Dallas will score first so that you'll get better value on the Kansas City Chiefs. So definitely live betting situations, make sure you know those numbers going in for the sides, totals, spreads, as well as those player props, because you will see those adjustments. If we see one of these teams go up big in the first half, that second half, they're going to run the ball and you're going to look for those running backs that haven't been utilized in the first half by one of these teams to be utilized in the second as they try to slow the game down and not allow the offense of their opponent on the field as they try to run out the clock on their side of things. So definitely live betting situation for this one. I do think it ends up being a back and forth battle. We'll see which quarterback has the better day. Do I trust Dallas and the Cowboys? No. Do I want to see the Kansas City Chiefs get the win and Patrick Mahomes? No, I don't. I don't think this one ends in a tie, though, you guys. Give me the Dallas Cowboys plus the 3.5. I will be coming back in on the Dallas Cowboys if KC scores first. Plus 6.5. Hopefully, we'll be able to get them at that point. But you guys, this should be a great one. Again, I want to remind you of everything going on at picksandparlays.net. We do have a great special going on for Thanksgiving right now. They're combining Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and Cyber Monday all into one full week of savings for all the loyal clients over here on Picks and Parlays. All you have to do is enter the code THANKS33 and you'll get 33% off everything you put into your cart for the entire week. So it's the best savings of the year. It will include everything. Those daily picks and best bets, the full season packages, all access subscriptions, flex plans, and pick your teams. Already discounted specials and promos, every sport, every handicapper, every package. No limits, no exclusions, no limits. Load up your cart, apply Thanks33, and grab the biggest saving of the year before it ends Monday at midnight. So you guys, what are you waiting for? Head on over to picksandparlays.net. But I'm Joe Madden. You can follow me on all social media at Joe Madden Sports. I appreciate you for being here. Enjoy these games out here on Thanksgiving. All the best in all of your bets. And you know the drill, you guys. Stay hot and let's make some freaking money. Cheers, you guys.